Welcome to the Building to Scale podcast, where we bring real entrepreneur stories that showcase the challenges and successes in building and scaling an entrepreneurial business. Our host, Jeff Chastain, is a business transformation coach with Admentis, where he coaches business leaders and their teams with a proven set of principles and tools, helping them gain clarity in and get more of what they want from their business. Make sure to stick around until the end of the show, and we will reveal how you can become our next guest.
Hello, everybody. Jeff Chastain here with another episode of the Building to Scale podcast, where I get the opportunity really to speak with entrepreneurial business leaders, influencers in our industries. In the case today, an expert on the finance side. That's really an area that I find a lot of business owners are less than, not quite their strong suit, put it that way, kind of a thing here. But just hearing their challenges here of success and growing and scaling their business here. So today's guest with me again is Charles Reed with Get Payroll. So Charles, first off, welcome to the show and thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day here.
Jeff, my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit. I was like, Get Payroll is obviously, I'm assuming, fairly self-descriptive here of the company, but tell us a little bit more about yourself and the company here.
Well, myself, I'm a Midwestern boy, grew up in Iowa. After high school, I joined the United States Marine Corps. 4 years, a couple of years overseas, combat tour in Vietnam. Came back, was stationed in Kansas City, met and married my wife, who had 5 children when I married her, and was 10 years older than I was. I claim insanity, but
yeah,
we were married for 46 years, so something worked.
Something worked.
It was the best decision I ever made in my life. I promise you that. Found out that my military experience, and I've been trained as a computer programmer, systems engineer, was not viewed as valuable in the business world. So I went and got my degrees, my BBA, my MBA, sat for and passed my CPA exam while I was still in graduate school. Went to work for Texas Instruments. Spent, a dozen years working for large and small companies. Determined I was never going to get to the top of a corporation because I didn't have the political skills. I was unwilling to stab people in the back and toss them off the ladder.
Yep.
So I started my own company. My father had his own company. I started my own. And that was 30 years ago this year. Ruth and I, my wife, started our own business. It was a mobile accounting and payroll company. 10 years or so ago, I sold off the accounting side to my partner that I brought in and kept with the payroll. I like the payroll side.
Yeah.
I like the business to business. I enjoy, frankly, dealing with the Internal Revenue Service in the States. It's a game, and I'm very, very good at it. So we provide payroll services and ancillary services, workers' comp, handbooks, HR, timekeeping, and so on, to small and medium-sized businesses around the country. Just this last year, I published my newest book, the Payroll Book, a guide for small business and startups. And this is exactly for entrepreneurs and small business. So teach them about payroll. It's 30 years of experience distilled down to 95,000 words.
Well, it's definitely a challenge for sure, because I know I've been involved with the payroll, and even if you get a QuickBooks payroll or something like that with the software, it kind of guides you, but you still end up sitting there saying, okay, did I do that right? Am I going to get a call from the IRS kind of a thing here?
And the IRS makes millions of mistakes a year. IRS has 100,000 people. It's under budget. It doesn't train everybody well. It has high turnover. 40% of the people can retire in the next 2 years. It's dealing with obsolete technology, some of which goes back to the 1960s. They issued in fiscal 2018, $13 billion of employment tax penalties. That's it. 40% of small businesses get hit with a penalty every year, and that penalty averages around $800. Of those $13 billion, more than half got abated by people like me who know what they're doing and can say, no, this is a mistake. This is wrong. You can't penalize us for this. You made a mistake in how you did it, on and on and on and on. We're experts at this. We're compliance experts. This is what we do for our clients is we provide compliance. It's like insurance for your car. You may never be in a car wreck and need auto insurance, okay? You may never need it, but you buy it.
Yeah.
Because if it happens, you're going to really need it. So we provide compliance insurance as part of our service. And that makes us unique as a payroll service provider.
Yeah, I think we were talking about it beforehand, but it's the challenge really from a business owner perspective of you don't know what you don't know at that point. That, like I said, QuickBooks or whatever the accounting package says it's doing it for you, but you've always got that doubt. It's like, okay, I'm not the expert in payroll here. So is this done right or not? And
it won't tell you if this person is really an employee or an independent contractor. It won't tell you if, no, you have to pay this person overtime. Those things, it won't tell you. It won't tell you, oh, this deduction is pre-tax, not post-tax. It won't tell you, oh, this garnishment order, you don't have to enforce or you do have to enforce. It won't tell you that the law has changed. So if you have an independent contractor, you have to report him as a new hire. And if you get a child support order, you got to take it out of what you pay that independent contractor who's claims he's an independent contractor to avoid paying child support. You can't do it anymore.
Yep.
You know, the software won't tell you those things. That requires some out of the box knowledge.
And that's really the thing. It's like, to me, what you're sitting here saying, a lot of that stuff I would never even consider, wouldn't even think about, kind of a thing, because my expertise is in another area.
Exactly.
So that's the challenge to me that I honestly see with a lot of business owners, is that they're experts in whatever their lane is, in technology or in medical or whatever. And now once it comes to owning and running a business, and you probably saw this early on in your stage, even still, it's like there's sales and marketing, there's finance, there's payroll, there's all this other stuff that goes into, hey, I just wanted to go build widgets, kind of a thing here. It says there's a whole lot more to owning a business, and honestly, a lot more traps that you can fall into if you don't know.
There is. I give out Michael Gerber's book, The E-Myth Revisited, to a lot of clients. I buy it by the dozen because it teaches you how to work on your business, not in your business. And outsourcing is part of that. We were talking, I don't make my own clothes. I don't build my own car. I don't build my own house. I don't grow my own food. I outsource all of that. I'm not an expert at it. Jeez, I wouldn't know how to sew one of these things if I had to. But when it comes to payroll taxes, and payroll associated things, I've spent 40 years learning it. I'm an expert at it. Why would you do your own payroll instead of, for a pittance, less time than for less money than you spend of your own time on it, that you'd rather have to work on your business? Do payroll. You know, we outsource lots of things as a company. We don't build our own forms. We don't print our own check. We don't print check stock. We don't make computers. You know, I bought the building, all that, because I'm not an expert at those things. I can't be an expert at everything. Years ago, I got my licenses, and I was a stockbroker and a registered investment advisor. I gave it up because I found I couldn't do that and keep up with taxes and payroll.
Gotcha.
There was too much to do. I could not service my clients on the investment side properly if I was going to keep up on the payroll and tax side. I couldn't do both. I did not have enough time in the day. So I chose. And I chose to be an expert in payroll and payroll tax compliance, employment tax compliance, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I gave up on the rest. My money's in, I have an investment advisor. I don't even do my own investments anymore. I don't have time for it. I can't keep up with the market. So advice to small business, work on your business, use your expertise, and where you don't have expertise, backstop it with other people, whether it be internal or external. You know, don't try and wear all the hats if you don't have to. When you start, you have to, but as soon as you don't have to, don't.
Yeah, no, and it's really that's the key to me, because early on you, to a large degree, have to. Although even these days, I don't feel like you have to near as much because of the ability to outsource and even fractional resources. Hey, you don't need a full-time CFO as a small business. Go get a fractional CFO. Still advise you on some of that financial strategy without being a full-time resource that honestly you don't need, that even if you could afford it, kind of a thing there. But payroll, it's almost like there's so many different service providers out there right now that you can do everything around your core business. And like you were saying, you don't deal with computers or printer paper or anything like that. Stick to your core right there and really focus on being the best at your core and get rid of all the rest of it.
Take care of your clients, do your business, and outsource the other things. It'll make your life easier, and it'll give you more time, maybe not enough, but it'll give you more time to work on your business.
Yep. So I'm curious, when you mentioned getting into the stock trading and stuff like that, because that's what I'll see a lot of times with the business. It's like, okay, there's something slightly tangential to what we also do. Let's go bring on that line and bring on that line. And before you know it, extremely wide and not focused. So I'm curious what got you into that, and then kind of what brought you back to saying, hey, too much, let's bring back in a focus.
Well, this has always been a thing with CPAs. The conferences and the groups all say, well, you're a trusted advisor. You ought to be advising them on investments. It makes all the sense in the world. You're already in their pocketbook. You're already doing their taxes, okay? This is when I was still doing general accounting as well. And so I said, okay, I did stock analysis as a teenager. I enjoyed that kind of stuff. I was investing when I was 12. So I said, great. And I went and got my my Series 7 and 66 licenses. It allowed me to do anything in the financial world except underwrite municipal bonds, which requires a special license, because I thought I could better service my clients. And I fairly quickly realized I couldn't do it. I couldn't keep up. The market requires constant attention. You got to be on it all day, every day. And if you're not, you're going to get way behind real quick. And I learned that lesson the hard way, is you can't be everything to everybody. So we concentrated on payroll. In the last few years, we've added some ancillary services as we've grown. And I have people who can handle that. Yeah. So we can work with get your workers' comp partners. We have HR outsourcing that we can sell you. We have timekeeping that's now integrated with the payroll, so it makes all the sense in the world, and these kinds of things. But we're careful. We have people that get us all the time that, well, you can sell this to your clients. No, I don't want to sell this to my clients. You sell it to my clients your way, okay? We don't take on many of them. We've taken on a couple, but it's just there's a spot on the website. If you want online personal training for your employees, click here, and it goes to that company, okay?
Yeah.
And we have nothing to do with it other than a link on the website. We get a small override on it because we're marketing it, but I don't want anything to do with it, okay? I got my own personal trainer. I don't need an electronic one. So we've got a couple of things like that, discount program and so on, but we don't work them. And we're very cautious about expanding because we know where our expertise is. Our expertise is payroll and payroll compliance. And those things that are integral to payroll, we want to deal with because we want our clients to, well, frankly, not buy timekeeping from somebody else that then tells them payroll.
Yeah, truth to that.
We don't want to give them a lead in. Some other people a lead in to get our payroll services. Yeah. So we avoid that. But other than that, we're a payroll company. We don't do accounting anymore. We've gotten completely out of that. My partner, we send them to him. And if he wants them, he takes them. If he doesn't, he doesn't. That's his business. We don't. I'm not an insurance agent. I don't sell workers' comp. I've got a company that is an independent agency that has 30 or 40 workers' comp companies. We'll send you to them. They'll take care of you. We vetted them. They do a great job. Okay, and so on and so forth. But you can easily spread yourself too quick, and there's lots of people who love to sell to your clients, okay, that want to use your lists, your contacts for their profit, and they'll offer you a pittance. We've gotten out of trying to irritate our clients that way. It doesn't work. It's never worked. We just say no.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying for sure. I constantly get solicited from other companies, other vendors, kind of a thing. Well, add this piece to your training, your coaching, kind of a thing here. And it's like, no, I'm very focused on exactly my layer, exactly what I'm doing. If you want to get into sales coaching or whatever, I've got a sales coach I can hand you. I'm not going to try to tell you how to build your sales team or your finance group or whatever, your kind of thing. I'm very focused on my layer. But yeah, it's just add our coaching program or add our set of tools or our assessments here. It's like, no, I've got my block, because and they're constantly, and it's a carrot sitting there. Hey, just dangle this one more service here in front of your clients and you'll make a bunch more money. And before long, like you said, you're so spread thin and don't have the expertise that who are you at that point?
And you don't make enough money to piss off a client.
Yeah.
Pure and simple. If one client gets it and isn't happy and you lose that client, everything you possibly could have made from that association is gone. All of it, forever. So why take that chance?
True. Yeah. So I'm curious, kind of over time and in growing your own business to this point, if you said you started you and your wife kind of a thing now towards, you said, I believe we were talking beforehand, almost all 50 states or all 50 states coverage kind of a thing now. What's been kind of some of those challenges? Obviously adding more people, growing services, splitting off companies. What stands out to you as to, hey, some obstacles or some challenges with the business that we had to go through?
Well, obviously, there's all the technology changes over the last 30 years.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier, we used to order paper by the pallet, okay? 40 cases of paper at a time. We order 2 cases at a time now. All of our reports go out to our clients. Almost all of them go out electronically, okay? Yeah. Our checks, the checks we've cut has gone down to literally 5% from 100%. It's all direct deposit or debit card, which we love. It's quicker, simpler, easier. We don't have to deliver checks, cuts down our delivery costs and so on, cuts down our costs to our clients, makes it quicker, more efficient, easier. We've been doing that for years. Those are the things that have been outside influences. Internally, marketing. We talked about it. It took me 20 years before I figured out I really needed marketing people. I'm passionate about my company, and on a one-to-one basis, I can sell my services because I'm passionate about it. I believe in it. Yeah. I know what we do and we do it well. But going out and talking to strangers about it, I can't do it. I tried selling insurance once. It doesn't work for me. That's not my thing. I'm not a sales. I can't get into that sales set. I don't have that mindset to be able to wash off the rejection. You understand?
Oh yeah, no, I'm right there with you on that one. Yeah.
So I finally figured out I needed a marketing sales department rather than just a salesman, and I've hired a couple, and then about a year and a half ago I hired Anash and Michael, and they have just done wonders for us. So we have the right marketing in place. They're the reason I'm doing your podcast and others. It gets us out in front of people. It lets us show off our new book, which was published by Wiley last year. So we're having more inbound leads than we've ever had, strictly from coming down and spending the money on marketing and then finding the right people. And it's made all the difference in the world. It's really starting to get us toward the goals we want to achieve. And it's about time. I've been at this 30 years, and now I can finally see, after 30 years, I can see, we're going to get where we want to go. Great. I just wish I'd done it 28 years ago.
Well, it's still an interesting point, though, because a lot of times, especially as business owners, and I was talking with somebody else actually on the podcast a few weeks ago that was talking about, you've almost got to sit there and reevaluate everything that's on your plate, even monthly or quarterly kind of a thing there, because without knowing it as an owner, you keep picking up hats, you keep picking up things. Hey, I'm going to do podcasts. I'm going to do marketing. I'm going to do stuff. And without looking at it, all of a sudden you're overwhelmed. And it's like, okay, you've got to look at your role to say, okay, what can I hand off? What do I've actually got a tool that sits there on one end of the spectrum. What am I really good at? And what do I love doing versus the opposite end of the spectrum? What do I really hate? And I'm honestly not very good at it anyways. Let's find somebody else to do that stuff. Let's find somebody else to do the marketing and sales that just doesn't fit my personality. Find somebody that it does fit their personality, that they thrive at that. They'd love that role, that job, and put them in that kind of a thing there. And it's really that evaluation on a regular basis that, if nothing else, makes you a whole lot happier with where you are kind of a thing there. Because I know, like I said, I identify with that one, and it can be miserable sitting there trying to, okay, I got to make my calls today. It's like, and you're just killing the prospect right there anyways, because they know for sure you don't want to be doing this. It's coming across in your attitude. So yeah.
It's either outsource it or insource it. Hire people to back up your frailties, your areas of inexpertise. I mean, I don't need anybody to help me with compliance. I've got people who I'm training that can do some of the routine things, but when it comes down to dealing with the IRS, I'm the expert, okay? But when it comes to installing computer software or processing these things or mailing them out or updating this or inputting new clients and so on. I got staff that does that far, far better than I do. They don't let me do payrolls anymore. I'm not up to speed on the current software, and they don't want me in there because the last time I got in there and tried to do some payrolls, it took them a day to fix all the problems.
I get to come back and clean up the mess now. Yeah, no, I get it. Because to me, that's almost the quadrant that's the hardest. That's the stuff I can do, but honestly, I probably shouldn't be doing.
I used to do all the payrolls myself when we first stared.
Yeah.
Okay. Now my staff won't let me. Could I do them? I like to think so, but they don't.
Well, it's even a little bit further on the spectrum to say, hey, yeah, you technically could do it, but they can do it better. They can do it faster. They can, if nothing else, they can just take it off your plate so you can focus on the areas that you really do excel at.
Exactly. It allows me time to work on my business.
Yeah.
To oversee marketing and to get things going and to meet with my publicist and to write my books. Okay. Because my book is now my business card, and it's a great business card. We're the people who wrote the book on payroll, the payroll book.
Yeah.
I mean, that's massive, but that took 2 years to write. Okay. And a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of energy went into that. Writing sounds simple until you do it.
I've had a few people ask me, why don't you just write a book? It's like, that's not trivial.
No, I thought it was, I'll sit down in 30 days, I'll kick out something and 18 months later, I'm still working with the copywriters and the editors and I was going to do the outline. No, I paid a professional outliner. Indexer. I went to do the index, and I started looking at software and doing it and try it. And I said, for $1,000, I can have somebody do a professional index on the book. Absolutely.
And that's almost that's the biggest key right there. Is like, yes, you could have gotten in there and figured it out, or you spend a little bit of money and go do it. Yeah.
It would have taken me a month. And it wouldn't have been as good as I got.
Yeah.
For $1,000. So I will never index another book again. I'll never even think about doing it. It's stupid for me to do that kind of thing when I can hire a professional with superb software and 30 years of experience to do it in 4 days. Okay. Yeah. It's like, I think people who do their own payroll are fools. Okay. It's not worth their time or effort. Unless you're a professional at it, you're going to get tripped up. So why did I think I could do an index?
Because all business owners think they can handle all aspects of their business. So.
Absolutely. We do. Absolutely. Because when we started, we had to.
Yeah.
Whatever needed to be done, we did it. I wore all the hats, and you can see what that did to my head. Okay. And man, I hand them off now as quick as I can. If I get a new one for something, I hand it off to somebody as quickly as I can, because it doesn't make sense for me to do things that I'm not the expert at.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's
absolutely.
For whatever reason, again, maybe it's just the entrepreneurial spirit kind of a thing there. Even though we almost know that, okay, we should be handing this stuff off, it's still just so difficult to go delegate it off. And granted, I'm the perfectionist myself, so it's always tough to hand something off to somebody else, especially get it back and say, boy, I could have done, there's a couple of tweaks I could have done, but at the same time, you got to look at it and say, okay, was it really worth it though? Still. So yeah.
One of my biggest personal things is style versus substance. And I used to think that style really mattered. Well, I've learned the hard way. If we can get to the right result, I'm going to go this way. You're going to go that way, but we're going to have the right result at the end. I don't care anymore. I used to care. No, do it my way. Yeah. And there's certain things in payroll particularly that I've structured because I'm the CPA and I know how they need to be done for audits and cross checks and ticks and ties and so on and so forth to get the right answer every single time. So in their style matters. But in a lot of things, style doesn't matter. results matter.
Yeah.
And if you can get the results I want by doing it in a way that I go, what the hell? If it works, it works. I don't care anymore. That's when I had to break myself of that style is not important, substance is.
Yeah. And it really, to me, because I do a lot of that with process development, because you've got to have defined processes in order to hand off stuff and have it right. But so many people look at process development and say, I don't want to do it because I've got to go write this 6-inch thick manual on how to do this process. Like, no, you don't. To your point, hit the high points, hit what's really required here. And honestly, show me your creativity, bring your style to this. So as long as you hit those key points, you can probably do it faster and better than I. Maybe you bring another idea how to do this better, kind of a thing here. And it's just, as long as we're hitting those key points, great.
Here's the milestones I need to see. And, if you get there from going across the lake or around the mountain or under the tunnel, I don't care. As long as you get to that mile post, I'm happy.
Yeah. No, I always look back at the sales side where people say, well, you got to make, all of our sales teams got to make 50 calls a day. It's like, what if they're not adept at being on the phone, making those calls? What if they could go have coffee or go to a networking group or go do something else, still get your end result of the number of leads? That's all you care about is the number of leads, not the number of calls they made.
And I went through that myself. We used to for the salespeople, we'd set up quotas of calls and contacts and yada, 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 yada. Now it's, if you get adequate sales, I don't care how you get them. I would not have let Ross Perot go just because he reached his yearly quota in the first 10 days of January. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd have said, Ross, why don't you go out and make $10 million this year? Okay. Or 20 or 30 or 40, go for it, baby. Saying something, well, you've made your quota. So, we're not going to pay you anymore for the year. What the hell?
Yeah. or go teach our other players or whatever. But yeah, don't, that's, I always wondered about that one when you cap off the quotas and stuff like that, or for that matter, cut it down to say, hey, you're making too much money. It's like, if it's structured right, great, make all the money you want, kind of a thing there, because hopefully I'm making money too.
I had a boss that did that one time. We'd send it a bonus program for the salespeople, and it had a step program. So every time they hit another step, they got a retroactive commission. And man, they were going great guns. I left the company over a dispute with the boss, and 30 days later, he killed the bonus program because he thought they were making too much money. 3 months later, the sales manager and the better half of the sales staff left en masse to a direct competitor.
Yep.
60 days later, he was bankrupt.
He was out. Yeah.
He let his ego get in the way. They were making as much money as he was, and that wasn't right. Of course, the company was making money hand over fist. Okay. But the salesmen were making too much money. So he killed the program, and he killed the goose that laid the golden egg.
Yeah.
He let his ego override his sense, and he destroyed his own company. He was a fool.
That's still, it's like, on one hand, I'd say, yes, the entrepreneur's got to have a healthy ego. Yes, I can do this. Yes, I can push through all the challenges that come with a business. But yeah, at the same time, you've got to know when to let that go. Because I've seen so many business owners that, hey, nobody else can do this as well as I can. Nobody else can do what I can. It's like, well, yeah, they really can. And you're basically strangling your own business at that point. There's a reason you're not growing, and it's you. And that's a hard that's a hard one to figure out for a lot of people.
It is.
So again, I thoroughly enjoy the conversation. I keep going, but I don't want to take up your whole day, kind of a thing here. And I don't think anybody would listen to an hour-long podcast anyways, but always like kind of coming back and wrapping up just to say, hey, looking back over, and I know we've talked several things already, so you may pull out something we already touched, but looking back over your 30 years here with this company to say, hey, if I had just tried something earlier, done something earlier, things might have moved faster, or we wouldn't run into that pet pothole. Anything come to mind there?
Well, and we've talked about it some, but it's for me, it's marketing. As I said, I can't market my way out of a paper bag. Okay. So had I put in the marketing I have now 25 years ago, our company would be a lot bigger and a lot more profitable. Okay. We would be substantially bigger because we're growing by leaps and bounds at the moment. because we have marketing that provides inbound leads, and we've got a sales staff that closes those effectively. And had I put this same thing in place, and I could have afforded it, say, 25 years ago. I couldn't afford it 30 years ago. 25 years ago, I probably would have sold this thing off for tens of millions of dollars to ADP and be living on an island in the Bahamas, okay? But as it is, I may get there, but I'll probably be 100 years old. So I didn't backstop my weakness, okay? I didn't say I'm weak here. I did in other areas, but marketing, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
That was because I'm passionate about my company. I'm passionate about my business. I can always sell it to one person because I believe in it. We do great work for people at a pittance, okay? One of our biggest sales objections, though, you can't do it for that price. Yeah, we can. We do it every day, okay? So yeah, we really can. We can do payroll that cheap because we got the systems and the equipment and the people and everything in place to do it. But trying to get that across to 5 million small businesses, I don't know how. I didn't then. Anash schools me every week, okay, because we have a weekly meeting on it, and he's doing wonders, and I I love him, okay. But I wish I'd just done it 25 years ago.
Yeah, and it's obviously marketing is kind of what you're saying. You're Achilles heel there on it, but still, it's every owner's got something different. But I think to the point, what you're saying is the sooner you can identify that and hand it off, the better you'll be long term, kind of a thing there. Because I think that's kind of almost been the entire theme of the conversation now. The faster you can delegate, the better you can delegate, and really focus on your sweet spot, your area right there of expertise. That's where you're going to scale and grow at that point.
And sometimes you'll say, well, I can't take that hat off because I can't afford to. Look at it and decide whether you can't afford not to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the time it frees you up to allow you to work on your business is so critically important. Look at the hours you spend on that task or that hat and say, if I had those hours, that time to spend on my business, what could I do? And many times you'll find I could produce so much more revenue that the cost of moving that hat onto somebody else is nothing.
Yeah.
What do I do? I'll do that every day of the week. It's like it's like if I can borrow money at 4% interest and loan it to somebody at 10, I'm going to borrow as much money as I can. Okay.
Yep. And that's really what it comes down to. It's just like, okay, how do you hand that stuff off? And it's a challenge because you said it earlier. It's like, okay, we started wearing all the hats, and now you got to start taking them off, and it is your baby still. It's like I don't want. Especially I see from the marketing side, because I've struggled with that too. It's like, wait a minute, this is my company image here, and you're going to take over my company image. And
Manash does a great job with, and will you get burnt on some of those? Yeah. You're going to get burnt. You're going to give it to the wrong person. You're going to do it at the wrong time. You're going to make a mistake in hiring. You're going to make a mistake in outsourcing. Will you get burnt? Yeah, absolutely. I promise you, you will get burnt. At least once and probably many times. But pick yourself up, make better decisions the next time, and keep on moving. Because if you don't, you're in a rut, and a grave is just a rut with the ends kicked out. Okay? So, no, you got to try it, and you will make mistakes, and you will have, if you were perfect, you'd be richer than Jeff Bezos already, okay?
Yeah.
So you're not, just live with it. If you think you're perfect, ask your wife, okay? Or your husband, or your parents, okay?
Yeah.
Ask your mother if you're perfect.
Good luck with that one.
Or
yeah, no,
if you're like me, ask your kids.
True there, yeah. No, it's always interesting looking at that kind of a thing there, because it's just like, okay, how do you get beyond yourself and how do you move beyond it? But it's still building a business is just a journey. I look at it. It's like, okay, I actually had somebody ask me at one point, looking back, what do you regret? It's like, if I didn't make those mistakes, I still wouldn't be where I am today, because hopefully I learned from them and moved beyond at that point. So you just got to look them at as, hey, learning experience, we're going to move beyond it. We're hopefully course correct, course adjust, whatever we need to here, and keep moving. Because yeah, it's never a smooth ride.
Never is.
So I appreciate the time with us. Obviously, I think we can probably figure out where we want to go to find payroll at this point from a website address. But if people want to find more about you, where's the best place for them to go find you?
GetPayroll.com is the website. I'm CJR, Charles J. Reed at GetPayroll is my email. The book is available at thepayrollbook.com. And for your audience, if they will input the discount code podcast at the website, we will send them a free book.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely get that
audience.
All right here below in the show notes. So definitely appreciate it. It's a black box to a lot of people that we still try to figure out ourselves for some reason, even though we shouldn't. So appreciate the time. Thank you for coming out today.
Been my pleasure, Jeff. Been my pleasure.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Building to Scale podcast. If you would like to share your entrepreneurial business growth story, please visit buildingtoscale.com/guest. If you got something out of this interview, would you do both us and our guest a favor and share it on your social media accounts? Don't forget to hit subscribe in your player so that you don't miss any future episodes, and make sure to reach out to Jeff Chastain on any of the major social media networks, or check us out at admentis.com.